Hello there, welcome to another video and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to talk about some books that I've recently read and some books that I'm currently reading, and I also have something to confess. I've already recorded this video, or so I thought, because I didn't press that little red button. No. And halfway through the recording, I was like, did I press rec? Yeah, of course I did. I did not. And my next confession is that today I forgot that half of the channel name is fiction that I got right here, and the other half is Fika. And I forgot all about Fika today. Yeah, but I do have a reading update. Should I do this a second time around? Yeah, I think I should. So, let's start with Cujo. I've seen Cujo pop up and being mentioned in different pop culture things like series and other books and stuff, but all I knew about this book was that it was about a rabid dog. And in my mind, that went something like Cujo going door to door, killing people, just house after house after house. I don't know why I thought, because it's so much more, and I should have known that because this is not my first Stephen King experience. Yeah, we followed these two families. We jump straight into their ordinary lives with love and escapism and worries and regrets and all those kind of things. And it's a lot going on. And in the midst of this, we have the 200-pound Saint Bernard called Cujo. And Cujo is just a sweet, sweet, loving dog. And then the dog gets rabies. What surprised me most about this book, I think, was how sorry I'm feeling for Cujo while I read this. And all the people around him who love him so much. And the sickness just starting to twist Cujo's mind, destroying him from within. Then he starts to kill people. It's brutal. But I didn't think that it was that scary. I thought it was going to be a lot scarier. And then Stephen King decided to combine a claustrophobic element with the dog. And boy, did it become scary. I had to stop reading at night, as I had to do with The Shining, because it was one night I was reading and I turned off the lights and I was like, I had to stop doing that. There's a little bit of I don't know if you say supernatural element to it. There's a child's closet and something in the closet that has to do with Cujo. It also takes place in Castle Rock. That is one of Stephen King's recurring towns that he uses in his stories. We have visited Castle Rock before in one of his previous books, and some elements of that are pulled into the story as well. And it's just it's been haunting, and I did not expect that from this book. I rarely get disappointed by Stephen King, and this was not an exception. It was scary as yes. Next up, we have an Agatha Christie. This is going to be a mix of genres. This is a classic whodidit crime novel. It's a Death on the Nile or Döden på Nilen, because sometimes I just enjoy reading in my home language, Swedish. I thought this was a really detailed, very well-written story until the end. You get all these people, they come from different places around the world, and they all come to Egypt on the same vacation with different motivations. As I said, it's really detailed, it's really well thought out. And then the end just to me felt rushed. Something happens and to me people don't really react to it in like a real sort of way. It just gets rushed over, and that didn't really vibe with me in the same way that the rest of the novel did. But I still thought it was really, really good, and I'm not done reading Agatha Christie. I would definitely, and also like, look at this cover. I have 2 Agatha Christie books already, and they're in this cover, and I just think they're gorgeous. And the first book I read was The Orient Express, and I actually thought that this was better to me. If you want to grab an Agatha Christie, I definitely recommend this one, in spite of the ending. Next up, we have a Swedish book, and it's a middle grade, and it's, or maybe even younger, and it's Lotta på Bråkmakargatan, or Lotta on Troublemaker Street. And this is by author Astrid Lindgren, and it's the author of Pippi Longstocking. I talk a little bit about this book and other Astrid Lindgren work in my latest video, where I visit Astrid Lindgren's world. It's a theater park in Sweden, where her stories come to life. So if you want to check that out and learn a little bit more about the author of Pippi Longstocking, then you're welcome to do that. This is just short novellas about Lotta, her family, and their everyday life. It's very wholesome and funny. In the middle of it, we have this strong-willed little girl that you just can't help to love. This also has a special place in my heart because my mom gifted me this book. It was the first chapter book that she read to me as a child, and it's just very cute, and yeah. And then we go from cute to this. Told you it's gonna be a mixture of genres. This is a classic. When I saw the movies as a teenager, I did have no idea that it was based on a novel, and I'm so happy now that I've read both the novel and watched the movie, and I would argue that they are equally good. I mean, there are differences in the plot, but the core is sort of the same. The creation of a dinosaur park on an island outside of Costa Rica, where grand vision gets in the way of asking the right question, like, should we really be doing this? I don't know, maybe just because we can, should we? Yeah. When a test group comes to the island to inspect, everything goes wrong, and suddenly chaos is everywhere. I mean, when I watched the Jurassic Park movie or the Jurassic World ones, what I expect from this whole universe is people being chased by dinosaurs, and I was not disappointed. That's what I got, and that's what I wanted. So that was that, and now we head out to sea in this romance novel from Bridgerton author Julia Quinn. This is not my first Julia Quinn experience. There are, of course, the Bridgerton books. And then we have another family, the Smythe-Smith family. Then we have the Rokesby family. In this series, we follow the generation before Bridgerton, like Bridgerton siblings' parents' generation. This is the third book in the Rokesby series, and it's called På äventyr med Poppy Bridgerton in Swedish, or The Other Miss Bridgerton. Here we meet Poppy Bridgerton, and by chance she ends up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and two smugglers end up kidnapping her. They take her to their captain, Captain Andrew James. And Poppy and Andrew have never met before, and they don't really know each other at all, of course. But they may have closer ties than they realize at first. Yeah. So I just devoured this. I read it in 24 hours. I was so hooked that I might have locked myself, I'm not saying that I did, in the bathroom at work and kept reading after my break. But I was already done, like, with all the cleaning. Or that's how I would have been thinking, would I have done this? Which I, of course, did. I mean, for me, these books are just like a fun ride. It doesn't have to be that, like, complicated. Just fun. Just fun, exhilarating time that you just, like, fly through. That's what these books are for me. I would say that the Roxby family series is not their favorite, but I still read this in 24 hours. So, Julia Quinn, thank you for that. Next up, we have The Silence by Don DeLillo. And we're going to talk about this book. I bought this book pretty recently. I decided to not look up any reviews or anything like that. I was like, I always go into Goodreads and I check it out and I'm like, because I was intrigued by the back and it could have been really interesting. It really could have been. I'm going to read the back for you. Super Bowl Sunday 2022. A couple wait in their Manhattan apartment for their final dinner guests to arrive. The game is about to start. The missing guests' flight from Paris should have landed by now. Suddenly, screens go blank. Phones are dead. Is this the end of civilization? All anybody can do is wait. The Silence is an unnerving and profoundly moving novel about what happens when an unpredictable crisis strikes. If I were to describe this book with one word, it would be detached. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe the author felt like we're detached as human beings. Maybe. But to me, it just didn't make for a good novel. Or novella, maybe even, because it's pretty short. But it was, for me, it was detached to the point where the characters didn't even feel like real people. And the way it was constructed as well, I never really connected with any of the characters or the story. I would say there were a few sentences and scenes that like started to pull me in and then they just lost me again. That was my experience, but I'm still glad that I didn't look up the review because I just need to go out and experience more and not just look up everything. So I was glad for that, but yeah, this is probably moving on from my collection. And now, okay, let's talk about the most recent read. This took me longer than expected because when I was like 60 pages left, I just stopped reading. I've been traumatized by too many fantasy books, too many fantasy series, too many deaths. and I was not prepared to deal with another one. I was like, I have so many things to do. When will I have time for a mental breakdown? Should I schedule it in? Yeah, but now it's finished. I didn't talk much about Fourth Wing after I read that, because I was like, oh, everyone already knows everything about these books and so on. But I can't stay silent any longer. I have to talk about these books. I love these books. Oh my god. They're just so much more than just a romance for me. Like, Violet and Satan are a great couple in, like, fictional couple. I just love their stories so much. That's what I mean. But it's so much more. It's the world building. In the first one, we were like centered around the school and how it works. And then in this book, it expanded and we got so much more information about other regions. And also, like, I got so much more understanding for some of the characters in this book, and like the world that shaped them into who they are, made me understand them so much more. But okay, so we have Violet Sorengale. She is in Fourth Wing. She is about to try out to become a dragon rider. She is like not really fit to be a rider. She's very fragile. She's more of a bookish mind, and everyone sort of looks down on her for not fitting the model of being like a cool hardcore rider. And she meets Satan Ryerson, who is definitely what you expect in a dragon rider. In Fourth Wing, it's an enemies to lovers. Yeah. Okay, so what I really love is, like, you have the small things, like the squad or the group that she's in, with like loyalty and love and friendship and trust, and also between Satan and Violet. You have all these different cultures, and you have the political landscape, and then you also have the lore of the dragons, which I feel that we've just scratched on the surface of. I body read this with a friend and also Fourth Wing, and we stayed up late last night talking about this one after I finished it, and oh my god, did we have stuff to say. And I mean, I know some people have a hard time with her writing, but to me it just feels fresh, and I really enjoy her writing so much. Whew, yeah. Oh my god. I have a little bit of a book hangover, I would have to say. But I mean, so much things are happening in this book. I mean, whew. So if you haven't checked out Fourth Wing yet, just give it a try. Whew. So let's move on to the 3 books that I'm currently reading. And I think we should start with my latest Stephen King. This is a Bachman book collection. Richard Bachman was pseudonym he used. I've already read The Long Walk and Roadwork in this collection. And since I'm reading in the order of publication, Cujo, and next up is The Running Man. It says, TV's future favorite game show where contestants are hunted to death in the attempt to win a 1 billion jackpot. Yeah. I am about maybe 50 pages in already. It's very fast paced. Stephen King's writing usually like draw me in and hook me straight away, and this is not an exception. We follow this one man who enters these game shows that has sort of kind of like a Squid Gamey feel to them. You can like apply, and then depending on how well you perform in the tests that they put you through, they choose what game show you should be in. So far, super interesting, and yeah, we'll see where we end up with this one. He's rarely disappointed so far. This is going to be a mix of genres as well, because we also have Infamous. I am 25 pages in. This is not my first book in this. I don't know if I'm going to call it series, but the covers all look the same. And the other ones are called Troubled and Reputation. It says here that they describe them as Bridgerton's wild little sister. And I would say that that is a correct description. These are a little bit more, they have a little bit more of a modern feel. They have some LGBTQ elements, and I think they're just a fun ride. I mean, sometimes I can feel what I've felt in the other books, that some things like slide a little bit too easy, and maybe that isn't 100% realistic, but who cares? I mean, who cares? It's Regency romance, fun. So in this one we follow 22-year-old aspiring writer Edith Miller and her best friend Rose. And they've always done everything together, had like, Edith feels like they have like the same mind almost. And suddenly Rose is expressing an interest in marriage and being out in society in a way that Edith just does not vibe with. She's horrified. Yeah. The other two has just been fun reads, and this is what I expect from this one as well. That's why I picked it, and it's by the author Lex Croucher. The other ones, all of these three are standalone books, so you don't have to read the entire series or anything like that. So if you just want a fun Regency romance time. And then we have, to continue, of course, to Onyx Storm. Sometimes I'm like, how am I going to handle reading these books? And I'm also thinking, why do I keep reading series that aren't finished? At least I'm happy that this book did not come out in 2011. And like two other series that I have started. But it's not finished either. Do I regret reading A Song of Ice and Fire and the King Killer Chronicles? No. And yes. And no. Because they're great, but they're also not finished. Please finish these books. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, we'll see how I fare with this one. At least Fourth Wing, it was traumatic, but I read through it kind of quickly. In Iron Flame, I was taking a bit of breaks in between. Yeah, we'll see how I fare. But these are the three books that I'm currently reading. And I just love mixing genres like this because I parallel read, and sometimes I need a little bit of this and sometimes a little bit of that. And I'm just wondering what you're currently reading. And also, are you in the middle of a series that you haven't finished and that the author hasn't finished either? And did I just recently buy one more book in a series, the first book in a series that's not finished? Yes, I did. Do I learn? Apparently not. But I'm just having such a fun time reading at the moment, and I'm hoping that you're having a fun time too, or that something in this video inspired you to pick up something fun. Yeah, like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks and goodbye.